Welcome to Healing and Made Free with Janet Boynes Ministries. Thank you for listening. Janet will be talking about her struggle with addiction, alcohol, drugs, eating disorders, unwanted same-sex attraction, and living a homosexual life. Janet has survived all those things by the grace of God. Janet's not a doctor, she's not a therapist, she's not a psychotherapist, she's not a licensed counselor. Janet is an ordained pastor and wants to show you God's promises, how God has set her free, and how you can be set free. What He has done for her, He will do it for you. If healing and freedom are what you want, you have come to the right place at the right time. Let's get started. Here is Janet Boynes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Healing and Made Free. I'm so excited to have Kimberly Johnson on my podcast. Kim has been a longtime friend. She's volunteered for Janet Boynes Ministries. She has an amazing story. If you know anyone who has been through any type of loss, please send this podcast or this YouTube video to them. Not only did Kim lose her son, her mother, her father, her aunt, pretty much all within 2 years. Kim, welcome to Healing and Made Free with Janet Boynes.
Thank you.
You look so cute. So you were mentioning you just got off vacation.
I did, yeah. I was on a cruise to Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, celebrating one of my friend's 50th birthdays.
Hey, let's go. That's what we need to do as we get older. Go on and take those vacations.
Yeah, it was fun. Lots of fun.
Well, Kim, let's dive right into it. Why don't you just share a little bit about, however you want, how you and I met? You know, I don't know if you read my book, and we just connected, and I just love talking with you, and you helped me with some of the ladies that was, dealing with stuff in the area that I work in. Share a little bit with my audience, please.
Sure. One day I was talking with a friend who just stepped out of lifestyle homosexuality. And she said, Kim, do you know anybody that made it? And I was like, no, but I'll find somebody. And so I started searching the internet, came across, I think it was another ministry, but the ministry geared towards homosexual, lesbians or whatever, people who say they came out the life, but they still want to identify with the life. And I was like, well, that's not what I want. So I kept searching, found you, Janet Boynes. And then literally, I think I sent a text or an email. I sent an email and I was like, and I'm not playing games or something crazy. It's so funny. But you responded, and that started, I don't know. I think
started a dialogue.
Yeah. It did.
Yeah. And it was so amazing because, Kim, once you and I had an opportunity to talk, the wisdom, the heart that you have for people really touched me. And so from there, I wanted to, when women reached out to Janet Boynes Ministries, I would send some to you, and you mentored, many women with Janet Boynes Ministries. And, eventually we all get to a place where, okay, my time is up. God has moved me somewhere else. But I want to talk about also, that's just an introduction of how you and I met. But dive right into it. Within 2 years, a lot has happened. I remember when who is now the vice president of my board, Elciona, and I, met up with you and your son. And your son, had I'm not sure if it was asthma, and I'm not sure diabetes. Let's talk about that a little bit. Okay. Was he born with diabetes, or what happened?
No, well, I will tell you the story behind my son being diagnosed is one that's God. It's amazing. So when my son was a youngin', I would always send him home for the summer so he can spend time with my mother, my sister, and his cousins.
In Pittsburgh.
Yes, in Pittsburgh. And I live in Virginia. And my mother works at the doctor's office. The computers crashed. And my mother said, I need to reschedule Michael a appointment because, well, everything got lost when the computers crashed. And the doctor, the pediatrician said, I can see Michael today. And so they bring Michael to the doctors for his regular school physical. And they said, get him to the hospital right now. If they would have waited the 2 weeks, my son would have died when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you
So
got him to the hospital. Was there any type of reaction? Was he going through something, or it was just something noticeable? As like, get him to the hospital. It's like a
no,
heart attack. If you don't get it all cleaned up, you could just.
no, he was absolutely fine, running around playing. It was just that they always did a finger stick, always checked blood sugars, just the regular vitals for school physical. And his blood sugar was high enough that they rushed him to the emergency room. I was out at sea. Not far. We just did a 2-week deployment out, come back, and I found
Wait a
out.
minute. Let's hold on. You were out to sea. What does that mean? Let's not
Okay, so
specify that.
I was in the Navy, and the Navy, we go out. We were stationed in Norfolk, but every now and then you got to go out for training. So we went out for a 2-week training session, and I got a Red Cross message saying that my son was in the hospital, and I had to wait for the ship to come in. They were coming in 2 days. So I waited. Then I flew to Pittsburgh, and there we were. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and I got in a quick emergency. This is how you deal with type 1 diabetes, and I knew nothing. So when they released him from the hospital, I was just as lost as I was the day I stepped in the hospital to pick him up. And of course, you learn as you go. And I mean, he dealt with diabetes from the age of 8 until the age of almost 31. He was 30 when he passed away.
So, Kim, did you go to any type of support groups? Did you Google? How did you get to a place where you had a better understanding and that you were educated on a person that is diabetes? Because he was pretty severe. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was very brittle diabetic. So, of course, I bring him back to Norfolk. We went to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. They have diabetes classes for little kids. And so we went. And my son is brilliant. He was a really smart guy, even at a young age. And so they would practice with an orange, giving the orange insulin, right? And so, well, actually, it was air, but they would practice. This is how far you draw the needle up and then you press it in. And my son decided at 8 that he would give him himself insulin.
Wow.
He decided at 8. Now, I just was eyes on the needle, eyes on him, but he said, this is me. This is what I got to do. So I'm going to do it. So when he learned, he took it, he ran with it. And, I was the eyes, me and the Holy Spirit, because there are times when my son was in the room and God would say, go check on Michael, his blood sugar's low. And I'd say, Michael, check your blood sugar, and his blood sugar was low. Mom, how'd you know? Well, the Lord told me.
Yeah, it's a parent's instinct. And I can't imagine. I know my mom was diabetic, not to that degree. However, when she was diabetic, she didn't take, insulin, but I think she was on some type of pills. And I know I was borderline diabetic, not because of being overweight or anything. I just ate too much sugar. I was, junk food Janet. But as the years went on, even when, I spent some time with you and your son, Michael, which he has a unique name, a way of spelling his name. How did you spell his name?
Mycheal instead of AEL. And it's my child.
That's right. That's your child. And you can differentiate, his name from other names. And I've never seen it spelled that way, except for there's a guy in Minnesota that spells it Micheal instead of AEL. So they spell it just a little different. His parents switched that around. But moving forward, let's get into the nitty gritty. Michael went through episodes where it got so bad that he was rushed to the hospital. Why did he get so bad? Is it because he let his sugar get too low, or that's just the way his diabetic was running?
Yeah. So because he was so brittle, Michael could drop, and oftentimes he didn't know he was dropping. Sometimes he would be sleeping and his blood sugar dropped. So he could go to his bed and his blood sugar's fine, and 30 minutes drops. There is no rhyme or reason why, or words that I can even come up with that could tell you exactly why things were the way they were. I just know this, that it is what it was. One of the things we say, it is what it is. You take the bull by the horns and you just run with it. That's what we did. Like I can't even tell you. Some days it was he went to work or he went to school, and he just had a great day at school and come home and he's exhausted and maybe fall asleep. Blood sugar is low. So
Watching Michael's progress, talking with you over the years, my niece in Minnesota and my nephew on my youngest brother's two kids have sickle cell. And my niece is 12 years old and she's in and out of the hospital all the time. I just want the best for her. I want her to have a normal, childhood, but it will never be normal. Is that how you felt as a parent, that your son will never have what we call normal childhood, meaning getting out and play sports or being with friends all the time because of an episode that might transpire during the process?
So I'm a little different. I tried to push him to do a go do. We'll worry about the diabetes. What the diabetes will take care of itself, right? If you want to play sports, play sports. That just means you got to have extra orange juice on the sideline or extra sugar tablets on the sideline. Just means you got to check your blood sugar more. Go do what you want to do. We tried to make his life as normal as possible with the diagnosis of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all any parent would try to do, I think. Is we already know there's a sickness and we don't want to dwell on the sickness. I mean, what's tough when they're young is going to a birthday party, and everybody's eating cake and ice cream. Me, son, covered. When you take insulin, you got to cover for what you're going to eat. So take the insulin for the amount of sugar, grams of sugar that's in the cake and the ice cream, and have some. Don't eat the whole big chunk, but have cake and ice cream. Or, maybe we try to find the sugar-free ice cream so you can have, you just try to make the exceptions where needed.
Yeah, and that is amazing that you wanted to push your child to go out there and do life. It's like shark attacks. I was watching something recently, and a girl not only lost her arm, she lost her leg, and she has a twin sisters. She's out there skiing, she's golfing. I mean, with one hand, one leg. I mean, she says she will not let this stop her life. And that's the type of mom that I saw you to be, is like, nothing is going to stop my son. If he wants to do it, we're going to do everything we can so he can press forward and have a normal childhood. As a mother, he would have episodes at night, and you said that a little earlier. Did you ever feel like, will my son wake up the next day? Or will he have an episode overnight and I didn't know it? I was deep in his sleep. He didn't know, and he passed away in his sleep. Have you ever thought
Of
of anything
course.
like that?
You know, when talking to other people, that they would ask that question, I was like, it's rough as a parent to know that that is the possibility. You might wake up and go in to wake up your child and he is not awake. That that's something that I live with, but I would never share that with my son. I would never say, yeah. And it's not like a fear, it's a knowing, right?
Yeah.
These things are possible. I refuse to walk in fear, though, right? Just make sure you check your blood sugar at night. Make sure it's good. And whatever happens through the night, I'm a pretty light sleeper, so I can hear if he's having a seizure. Our rooms weren't so far apart that I couldn't hear. So, but that's, I'm a light sleeper. I can be a deep sleeper, but if my son's having a seizure, I'm waking up.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. But of course, that's a thought.
Yeah. And you trusted the Holy Spirit too, to to wake you up if something wasn't right or something wasn't wrong. And, those of you that are listening or watching via YouTube, talking with Kim regarding her son who was a diabetic, and we'll get into more of her story. But if you know anybody that has a diabetic child or going through diabetes, I want you to tune into this or pass this on to them because it's so important. Kim, I happened to be watching Good Morning America as I was preparing to get on with you, and Deion Sanders was on there. And what we didn't know is that Deion Sanders had bladder cancer. And they said you can go through the process of chemo and all that, or we can take your bladder. He said, take my bladder. I ain't nobody got time for this. Take the bladder. I'll work through it. A lot of men don't understand a lot of pain that, mothers go through when they have their pregnancy, but there was a rude awakening. And the reason why he said he wanted to share it is because he wants people to know. He said, that he's wearing, like diapers or whatever like that, or he's went to the bathroom in himself. And, Michael Strahan is like, why would you want to share this? And he says, because people need to know. Get to the doctor, do what you need to do to save your life. And that's what is so neat about you is you sharing your story, maybe to help other even African American people who have a tendency of not really taking care of themselves, not keeping your weight down. I've met Michael on a numerous occasion, and Michael's weight was always down. He kept his weight down and did everything he could on his end to be a healthy child and to take care of himself. But you, as a mom, did everything you could to as the covering of your home to make sure Michael was doing the right thing. Speak about that, to some of the parents who, feel like, well, they're adult. I'm not any more responsible for them, but they are.
Right. It is. It's different. It's tough when your child is an adult. They hit that age of 18, 19, 21, and they cross that threshold of, hey, I'm working, I'm doing all the adult things, and I'm still diabetic. I'm still brittle type 1 diabetic. The one thing that I did that a lot of parents around me do, one of the things that I didn't do is I didn't tell my son, you got to leave at 18, 19, 20. I didn't, that was not a son, your time frame. This is funny. I said, by the age of, and I only did this because he was diabetic, right? But when you turn 30, you better be out because ain't no 30-year-old staying with their mama, right? But in the meantime, do what you need to do. Work, go to college, do all those things that are money grabbers out of your pocket. You save your money, go to work, save your money. And my son said, Mom, I ain't no fool. If I can live with you and save money, I'm going to do it, And so
Love it.
That's what he did. And it's amazing to me, Janet, that at the age that I told him he had to be out, he was actually out.
Isn't that amazing? He saved that much money that he could go out on his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as an empty nester, what was your biggest fear knowing that he had the type of diabetes that could possibly kill him?
Well, when he left, it was because he passed away. That's what I meant. But however,
I that's why go ahead. Go into
it you have to allow, regardless, you have to let him live life. You got to let your child live life. My job was not to be hey, the judge to say, you can't do that. No, sir. Like, you're an adult. If that's what you want to do, go have fun. Just remember to do things responsibly. Right. And listen, I'm a Christian. My son loved Jesus, but I just keep it real with him. If you're out there and you decide to have a drink, call me because it's going to mess with you a little differently than the other people who drink. So call me. Don't drink and drive ever, right? My son wasn't a drinker. That wasn't really an issue, but it was always a conversation.
Yes.
That was the thing. We had very open communication about everything. There was nothing that was hidden in his life or my life that we could not talk about. And
There was nothing off the table.
Right. I wanted to make sure he knew that, and I wasn't, no judgment. And they do this thing, we what is it? We listen, but we don't judge. No, so we gonna talk, we gonna listen, but we're gonna have a conversation
Exactly.
because it's necessary. I don't want you to go out here thinking I can't tell my mom because she's gonna come home and react a certain way.
Yeah.
I used to be a reactor.
Yeah.
I used to be that parent that was like would lose their brain. But as life went on, I kind of mellowed out. So
Yeah, and I'm hoping more parents will mellow out because if I reached out to parents right now and some of their kids reach out to me privately, the ones that are 18, 19, 20 years old and talk with me before they will talk to their parents. And they're not married yet. And so they just want some assistance on certain things that they're watching or dealing with and going through and just praying for them and all those type of things. Kim, you said earlier that at the age of 30, you told your son he had to move out of the house. And not only, number one, I did before I go into that, you're a single mom and
yes,
you raised your son on your own. And I commend you. You did a wonderful job. I've known you for a long time and you are a hands-on mom, all in doing trips and going to amusement parks and all those things,
yeah,
Michael. But at the age of 30, something happened. Share
yeah.
with us about it.
So I guess really for Mike, it started probably when he was 28. So my son, things that we didn't share with a whole lot of people, just maybe our church families, whatever. But my son's kidney failed and he had to go on dialysis. Now, what I saw from my son, so my son helped me a lot too, right? Because when you get the message, the notice that your son's kidneys failed, now he has to be on dialysis on top of the diabetes, everything has to change. How he eats, you know, everything. It's bananas, right? It can make you as a parent feel helpless because there's absolutely nothing I could do to change except for his diet. I'm a cook. I can cook and I can make sure that you have the best of the best, even with the restrictions that you have to have. So if my son asked for something, my answer was absolutely yes, and we did it. Um, Hard, tough, but 28 diagnosed with kidney failure. And what I saw from my son was the opposite of what I expected. So I expected you go to dialysis, you come home, you're tired, you come home, you lay down, and you get up the next day, do whatever you got to do because the following day you got to go back to dialysis. That is not what I saw for my son. My son decided, well, I'm in college, so I'm not going to drop my college classes. I'm going to take more classes, which I was like, you're doing what? So he was taking college classes. He then took on another job. Or he had two jobs, but he refused to let one go. I'll put it like that. So he did two jobs in college on dialysis with diabetes, and he never stopped. The only time he would take a break is literally when he came home from dialysis. He would take a nap because he had to go to work. And it blew my mind.
It sounds like, just from what you're saying, that Michael wanted to be the man that you raised him to be, and he didn't want to put that big responsibility on his mom or have you worry about him. I know my grandma was on dialysis and needed a kidney. Did you give Michael a kidney? Did you ever think about it? What happened?
So,
What's about?
of course, I did not. I wasn't able to give him a kidney. I was able, but we didn't have the time. So we were now, as a mom, I'm thinking, what can we do? We got to get you on the list. We got to do this. We got to try to do everything that we can to get you a kidney. And then my sister got on the phone with my son and she said, Michael, I'll give you a kidney. And my heart, right? And I was like, yes. I don't even know why it didn't click in my head. Kim, you can give your son a kidney. But when my sister said that, I was like, you know what, Michael, let's do the testing. Let's see if I'm a match. I should be a match. I'm your mom. And there was a day. So I'll say this: we did all the tests. And then we were waiting for the results. And Michael was having a down day. It was one of them days. He said, Mom, why does all this stuff keep happening to me? And I was like, son, I don't know. But I do know that God knows, right? I do know that God knows everything going on with you. He is not surprised by any of it. And that day, we got a call from the doctor saying, hey, we got good news. We told you that 5 receptors, you would have 5 receptors that matched, and Michael's dad should have 5 receptors that match, but you have 6 that match, which means the kidney should stick. We shouldn't have any problems. Let's go ahead and get it rolling. So Michael had done his last testing. I had to get a colonoscopy. That's all I had to get done. We went on a trip, came back. I had the colonoscopy scheduled, and then Michael ended up going to work and not coming back home.
Share that when you say he didn't come back home, he went to work. Did he pass out or what happened?
So I took him to work. It was a Friday morning. I took Michael to work July 16th, I think. I took him to work.
Of what year? Do you remember?
Yeah. When the year he passed away, 2021. Is it 20? Yeah, 2021. It's funny because everybody's dates, it's my daddy.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But yeah, 2021, July 16th, 2021, Michael calls me. It's a Friday. I think it's 16th. He calls me and he says, Mom, my face is twitching. And so I immediately think your blood sugar's low.
Mm-hmm.
So did you check your blood sugar? Are you eating? He says, I'm eating now. Okay, great. But if what I know is if your blood sugar drops too much, it depletes the sugar in your brain, and it will cause muscle masses to twitch. And so my thought was he's had too many blood sugar drops, too many. So did you eat? Are you eating? He is eating. I said, okay. And then I assume, because I don't know, he goes into a seizure. Then he's always at lunch. He's having a regular day. He's at lunch. Supervisor sees him having a seizure. I call Michael's phone back. She tells me they're calling the paramedics. And then it's just I'm rushing to the hospital. It was a crazy, crazy day. But 2 days later, they call me, tell me, bring everybody in because they don't think he's going to make it. So.
And Michael was 28?
No, Michael, when he passed away, Michael was 30. That's why
you said, he was out the house.
Yeah.
But he went home to be with Jesus because he was only a Christian.
Yes.
As a parent, I know when my mother lost my brother in 1999 to AIDS, it was difficult. My mom never was a big drinker when she would go out with her friends. And I could just see that even though I was in Minnesota at the time, I could tell she was down quite a bit all the way up until when she passed away in 2020. It's difficult for a parent to lose a child. Those of you that are listening, we're talking to Kim Johnson about her son going through type 1 diabetes all the way up until he passed away in 2021. And on our next episode, I want to talk with Kim a little more about her process of not only losing her son, but losing her mother, her father, and her aunt within the next 2 years. Kim, thank you for being on Healing and Made Free with Janet Boynes. And we are going to do another episode so we can finish this thing for our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Healing and Made Free with Janet Boynes. Acts 10:34 says, God is no respecter of persons. God doesn't play favorites, which means what he has done for Janet, what he has done for guests on this show, he will do for you too. If you are struggling with anything, do not hesitate to reach out to Janet Boynes Ministries. They will do their best to help you any way they can. Go to the website, janetboynesministries.com. Janet loves you, and most importantly, God loves you. Have a blessed day.